The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Pop in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation or bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you March 28th, 2024. He's back. Sir Denny Blanco, co-host of the Instant In-Game podcast on the Cruise Control Podcast Network. Sir Denny Blanco, what's going on, brother?
Oh, your dreams have now been fulfilled. You're rocking with the best. Denny Blanco, thank you for having me, EJ. I do a podcast called It's in the Game Podcast alongside Randy J. Cruz. We talk about the game, talk about the game pretty much, what's in the game, and obviously it's sports related, but we dip our toe into other things as well. But once again, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and I'm charged up.
Before we get to that, though, this is probably gonna be a Randy question too. Also, I'll ask you since you're here by proxy. When we're gonna bring back the retro room?
When we're going to bring back the retro room, we should bring it back. I'm gonna talk to Randy J. Cruz about it because we definitely should bring it back. There's a lot of things that we do a show called the Retro Room where we talk about things that sports events, etc., that happened in the past, and when we 20-year anniversary, 15-year anniversary, we bring it up and discuss the time that it happened and what the differences are. So yeah, it's definitely needed. A lot of these young folks need to understand what Retro Room is all about, and we need to. You got to know where you've been before you know where you're going. So
within that. No, because I actually had soft launch a similar podcast last year. Because I have a wrestling podcast that does that talks about old school wrestling and conversations and rankings and watch alongs all night. And I soft launched a basketball retro podcast last year too, also, which I'd love to have you on there in the future once you start get that going in April. And I was like, man, because I remember when he would drop those episodes. And I love those episodes, man. Those shows are really good because it's always It's just someone like me who's watching the game 30+ years, and I relive a lot of that stuff. I'm like, wow, and then nailing these conversations is like, yep. So
yeah, we definitely it's nostalgia, it's bringing it back, and then also sometimes it's memory because a lot of the times you'd be like, oh, I didn't remember that did happen. Oh, so I'm gonna talk to him. We're gonna bring it back soon because the folks need it for sure.
First do need it, of course, on these streets. All right, so simple show today here. We're gonna talk about a couple of things here. Of course, first thing I have on the docket, MVP talk. Where we at 2 weeks ago in the year. We're gonna play a little game of contender pretender. I earmarked about quite a few teams on each conference. I want to talk about that and see if they're legit finals contenders pretender. And then we're gonna take a little bit on the beaten path a little bit on this one because you and I obviously we have to banter a lot on social media about not just basketball, whatever, but even some pop culture stuff. We got a lot of things going on right now in culture that I know you and I want to get into, and let's just hash it out and talk about it a little bit. The Diddy allegations, we get into that. And then Miss Candace Owens is making a splash the last few weeks on social media and whatnot. And we got to talk about that a little bit and see how we feel about that situation. But let's start with the bills are paid first, and that's on basketball. MVP talk 2 weeks ago. I've been saying already that look, this thing's really a two-man race. If you want to do a power rankings of 5 guys, I can come up 5 guys, but to me, it's a two-man race between 2 guys. SGA and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of course, folks don't know who he is, and of course Nikola Jokic, the defending NBA champion and 2-time MVP. So Denny Blanco, where you at in the MVP race 2 weeks ago?
had this conversation with Randy J. Cruz, and I was going to do a video. I don't think I did, but I was going to do a video asking why can't Jason Tatum get some looks? Because I'm seeing this top five. I'm seeing the top five. Jason Tatum's 5, right? You got Luke at 4. You got Giannis at 3, SGA at 2, and the big joke at number 1.
Who's ranking that?
Say again. This is who is this? This
NBA.com rankings?
Maybe NBA.com rankings. Yes.
Because I disagree with that. All that. Well, all of it, but I disagree with at least the bottom 3.
Yeah, the bottom. Yeah, I mean, you could switch around the bottom 3 depending on who you speak to. The top 2 is Joker and SGA. And
to me, that's where the race is. That's where the race ends right there, in my opinion. I don't think any of those other 3 guys have a shot to cracking that top 2 at this point.
Yeah, you're not. Both sitting at number 1 and number 2 in the West, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just confirm. Yes, Nuggets 51-22. Third, Thunder's third at 50 and 22, matched with Minnesota. Right. So you're talking about a center who damn near averages a triple double. Is literally playing this game because he's bored.
He's playing the game just to get to summertime to go play with his horses.
He's playing this game because it pays him a lot of money, and which is interesting because this guy did not come into the league playing like this.
Right.
He was not an MVP. It was a project, and he worked himself into shape, and he started developing different things: jump shot, passing ability, the ability to rebound and dribble the ball up himself. All those things lead to MVP conversation. So I think this is going to be number 2 for him. What's this number 3?
For Jokic?
Yeah.
It'd be his 3rd one.
Jesus Christ.
And one can argue should be his 4th.
So
I'm not saying it should be, but I'm saying one can argue that.
Yeah, well, it's the year of the Joker. It's the years of the Joker. We've seen obviously LeBron and Steph, whether they have the teams or not to hold them down. Shout out to Draymond Green. Apparently, he just doesn't want to play with Steph anymore. I don't know what's going on. He just can't stay on the court to play.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Joker having this same team running away with MVPs and championships for the next possibly 3 years. Mm-hmm. I don't see an honest change in the next 3 years if the Denver Nuggets keep those core 4: Murray, Porter, Gordon, and Joker. You can shift the KCP. You can shift around a couple of these guys, plug and play. You keep those 4, it's going to be difficult to beat them. So,
that's why I said last year. And the reason that is fact is not only the fact that you keep them the core, they're going to be together because the contracts are set in ways where of those 4 guys, I don't think anybody can opt out until 2 years from now. So Denver can stay on the gas and collect some championships here in this little 2-3 year window.
And let me tell you something, EJ. You know who? Denny Blanco, aka the NBA Whisperer, aka the Black JJ Redick.
We got that one now? You guys had that one recently?
The Black JJ Redick.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a JJ Redick drop right now so you can understand the intricacies of the game. Usually when you have a big man and he gets into the playoffs, he gets deep into the your Shaq, if you will.
Right.
If you watch Shaq back in the day, he played in a triangle offense, so it was kind of difficult for him to get double because you had 2 cutters,
right,
cutting at the same time once he caught it. Cool. Now we have fast forward, we have a big man who not requests a double team, not do you decide to double team. He's going to demand a double team. You're going to have to double him when it comes down to. So if you pay attention to a couple of these last minute games, maybe Denver, Boston, I think was a game that if you paid attention to when Boston went up to Denver, they needed a point. Joker threw it down to him in the post. We have Aaron Gordon, the opposite 3-point line behind Joker. He's behind him. That's Jaylen Brown's man. And Jason Tatum is guarding a wing guard on the other corner, basically in the wing.
Right.
So it's a wing and then the baseline. As soon as Jaylen Brown came to double, because he took, the Joker likes to take one dribble and go like this.
Yeah.
One dribble, He took one dribble, looked, it's just a peripheral, saw Jalen coming, and immediately turned and threw it next to the rim. And Aaron Gordon, being the smart man that he is, because a lot of teams will just stay behind the three-point line and shoot that three. Aaron Gordon said, I'm not a three-point shooter. I'm a dunker. Throw it next to the rim. So now, come playoff time, if you want to double Joker down in that paint when he's close to the rim, you're going to get an Aaron Gordon lob or you're going to Michael Porter three. Choose your poison wisely.
And I think people forget. I don't think people talk about enough how just obviously he's a great player and deserves all the flowers, best player in basketball. I mean, we all agree to that. How smart a player he is too, Jokic. He's just intelligent. His eyes, he's watching. He's always. I mean, those numbers aren't just numbers. Those numbers are because of who he is and how smart he is.
Joker is probably the least athletic player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Probably couldn't jump over phone book.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't outrun the fastest center in the league. Probably not. But I tell people all the time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pick basketball IQ over everything. Athleticism, height. Basketball IQ will basically equalize everything else that you think of. Oh, they're more athletic. Oh, they're bigger. Oh, I've played in many games. I played college basketball, played in high school, even pickup games. The concept, every time I sit back and analyze games that I've lost, games that I've won, basketball IQ. Yeah. Every single time. Yeah. Basketball IQ.
You know what's funny? You know, as I thought about that, you know what that reminds me of, actually? It'll sound weird saying this. It kind of reminds me of Tom Brady in football. Like, Tom Brady, not athletic. You look at him and say, oh, this lanky, tall, who's this guy? And you saw it. Remember his combine? He was underwhelming. But yet, this dude has 7 championships, has played on the greatest dynasty in football history, you know, was the leader of that pack, goes to Tampa Bay first year, goes to Tampa, wins the title there as well, too. It's the same thing. It's the IQ. It's I'm not athletic. I may have the greatest arm in the world or whatever, but I damn sure know how to put the ball where it needs to be. And Jokic is the same way too also.
Jokic, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. When LeBron James is on the court, I'm laughing at Iman Shumpert break it down because I've been in that situation too. I've been in situations where I'm seeing a play being called defensively. I'm guarding a play and I'm like, oh no, zipper. It's a zipper. No. He's going to set the screen over here, and then he's going to go backdoor here, and then he's going to curl. No. Like, basketball IQ. And I've watched so much games with LeBron. I've seen games where he's literally calling the play before it happens, and they so for example, he'll call the play and they can't stop it. He'd be frustrated because he's just like, I'm telling you what they're going to do. I'm telling you, and you're not in a position to, whether you're not in fronting the guy, you're not in position to stop the pass from coming in. He gets frustrated. So basketball IQ, obviously Steph Curry. We can go on and on about guys who just have the basketball IQ of just basically Einstein-ish when it comes to their sports. Period.
Right. So that being said, you agree that it's a 2-man race, right? You agree with that?
SGA, or SGA Joker. I know there's a such thing as voters fatigue. I spoke about this also on the podcast, and I said to Randy, and I'll ask you, do you think it's time that the voting for MVP? I'm just saying for MVP. Everything else maybe.
Oh, I heard this conversation. I think
it's time for voting to go to the players for MVP. I don't think go ahead.
I don't have a take, but I disagree with that. Actually, take on that. I think they can weigh in the same way you vote for all-stars. Maybe have a percentage of players who vote for players as good as they are, and players as much as they know the game. They're not watching every game either. They're on the road. Like while one guy's playing basketball, there's 8 other games going on that same night. Who said that players actually engage in the league in that same way? Like the media is. Look, I agree the media has their biases. This is why I agree with you on what you said on Randy's on the pod a couple days ago. There's definitely biases. But the media, more than most, is probably more engaged about the day-to-day of what's going on because that's their job. So if you want to go with the players being involved in voting, which by the way, I have no problem with that. It should be probably shared. The same way All-Star games are, are voted on. A third of the players, a third of the executives, and a third of the fans. You know what I'm saying?
No, that makes perfect sense. You make a very valid point, and even in my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's just take, for example, the East, right? So let's just say, okay, if I wanted to name an MVP for the East,
okay. Oh, right now for me would be probably either Tatum or Brunson.
Tatum, right? So if the players in the East, it's like, who's your MVP? Tatum or Brunson? They vote because they're in the East. They've seen the East. Right. And in the West, you go, who's your MVP? SGA or Joker? And then from there, you go, who's your MVP overall? Picking from, if it's Jason Tatum and then Joker, overall, more than likely it's going to be the Joker.
But I feel like the media makes it complicated. We discussed this last year in the podcast when the whole Embiid Jokic thing. And people are like, oh, well, Embiid shouldn't have won it now because Joker played in the playoffs. But dude, you do realize, do you ever understand what MVP is? It's literally an 82-game sample. So all this bullshit talk about fatigue and all this stuff gotta stop. Because if X player is still playing at that level and the best player at that level through 82 games, you vote based on the 82 games, not based on 3 years in a row. I'm a little tired of this. That's not how it works.
65 games.
If the guy deserves it and it's made all the protocols to the threshold to get the votes, and he's playing as such, you vote him in again. I don't give a damn. It's 10 years in a row.
Facts. So you're talking about 65 games, and you're talking about obviously healthy 65 games, and he's dominant. Yeah, that's what we discuss about your Steve Nash and your Shaq. You have a conversation where it's just like, did Steve Nash really, he went back to back, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just like Shaq was sitting right there like, I want a ring.
Right.
But that should have been my MVP. Like, let's be serious. So I understand the bias and the media saying, let's get Steve Nash a go. And it's just like,
and I know there are examples too in the past of like, well, Jordan should have won.
Jordan, Carmelo.
No, Barkley deserved the 93. And tell you why Barkley deserved 93. The Phoenix Suns win total increased by, I think, 10 games that year from the year before. The Bulls, however, decreased by 10 games that year, year. Now, obviously in the playoffs, it's what it is. But again, it's an 82-game sample, not an 82 plus the playoffs.
No, 1,000%. I agree with everything you just said. It's definitely, it should be, I think it's, the third splitting, breaking it down. I think that's probably the best. But
so your three guys after the two, my three, and I'll ask you in a second. My in order would be right now, it'd be Tatum 3, Jalen Brunson 4, and Doncic 5. I think Jalen Brunson, he's done this year, and then you add in the injuries too. You add in the injuries, and they're still winning games. They're still winning games. You have I'm at a point now where I'm thinking to myself, Jalen Brunson might be first team All NBA now this year.
No.
Regardless of position.
No. EJ, no. He is.
Thank you. Yeah.
He is. This is not, I told Randy, I say, I'm talking to folks and I'm watching him the last 3 years. And I said, at this point, for me anyway, watching him come to New York, every game he's played, come to New York. I said, at this point, right now, he's first team All NBA.
Now, do you now embrace? Because I'm there now. Because for years, probably till last year, I was always set on position. Okay, I need one center, 2 forwards, 2 guards. No. I'm done with that. Give me best 5 players. Call it a day.
Yeah. Give me the best 5. No,
if it's 5 centers, it's 5 centers.
Yeah.
Guards, I don't give a damn.
Position doesn't matter. Yeah. But first team, he's first team. You mentioned he's first. I mentioned first team. I think he's first team All NBA. It's not even a question. The All-Star game voters made a mistake. Number 2, he should have been a starter for the All-Star game. This chip.
Halliburton got it, right?
Halliburton got it.
That's the hometown thing, though.
Of course it was. God bless. Yeah. You have a huge chip on Jalen Brunson's shoulder that has grown ever since he's gotten into the league. And I don't want it to go because it drives him. The no, he won't be good in Dallas. The no, he won't be good in New York. The no, he won't be an all-star. The no, he won't have consistent numbers. Randall's going down. They're going to drop from 4th to 8th and out of the playoffs. Your man has them third.
And what game? Well, 2 games. What game behind? 2 games behind 2.
Eastern Conference. They are 44-28 currently in the Eastern Conference.
Without Randall, without OG.
Without Randall, without OG, and Mitchell Robinson came back last night.
Yeah.
Okay, that goes to show you great coaching. That goes to show you they have a very deep bench. Their depth is crazy, and they play defense.
I can argue right now, basically your argument alone, that Brunson should be ahead of Tatum.
Again, when you don't have the record to back up.
But the record was expected because of the team they have around them.
Facts. I agree completely.
If they're doing this year with this record with the same rosters last year, I can give Tatum probably top 2 sniff.
Yeah, I mean, and the argument is, well, if Kobe averaged 34 and took, a team that was supposed to be in a lottery to the playoffs, shouldn't he have gotten MVP, which he didn't?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The reason why I probably change my mind now in hindsight, but back then, I always had a threshold. My threshold always you got to win 50 games. Got to get 50. And that team won 45. Now, in hindsight, it's kind of picky. And in hindsight, if I had to vote again, I probably would go Kobe. But back then, I was so strict on, okay, well, I have threshold, 50 games threshold. They didn't win 50 games. And there you go.
Yeah, they didn't win enough games to be like, yo, this is the MVP of the league. And then again, have we ever given the MVP? No, because clearly if a person averaged 40 on a team that was always in a lottery, he wouldn't get MVP, right? It's not equating to wins.
Right.
So yes, you mentioned in terms of MVP race, the Jalen Brunson doesn't get the respect, and I'm happy that he doesn't, because it drives him and his other teammates.
You sound like a Knicks fan.
I sound like a Knicks fan. I sound like a fan of players knowing their worth and not backing down and making other teams regret, or other. So whether you're rookie like Paolo Banchero carrying Orlando and bringing them to the 5th seed, whether it's SGA 3 years ago, just realizing, looking around, be like, oh, I'm by myself here. Okay. And then taking his team from bottom of the conference,
zero to hero,
bottom of the conference to number 2. Those are the things I like to watch with teams, not so much as, I get high on the coach, the organization, just moving in the right direction. That's what we want to all see in general. I love Jalen Brunson because he's short like me, and he creates. He's probably going to be right now. Obviously, I have a list of people I would pay to watch play basketball.
He's one of them.
Luka, Jalen, Kyrie, LeBron, Kevin Durant, SGA. These guys, Joker. These guys are so talented. I would sit there and watch them go to work happily and enjoy it. Yes. So shout out to Brunson. Like I said before, the Knicks are sitting pretty, and hopefully if they do get full strength, this is going to be one of the greatest Eastern Conference playoffs of all time.
Right.
In terms of entertainment.
Well, hold on that quick. We're going to get to contender in a second. Real quick. So right now, you've had a vote right now. 2 weeks ago. Who's your MVP now? Who's the leader on the? If
I had to vote for
MVP, who's the leader?
MVP Joker.
Joker. Okay.
Yeah, Joker.
But is it by smidge, or it's still? Is there a gap between the two?
No gap. It's the Joker.
So it's still in play for SGA.
Yeah. It's still. I mean, I don't vote. I don't have a vote, but I'm confident in giving the best player on the best team in the West the actual trophy, because
that's what it may come down to is standings.
And then number 2, an MVP. Denny Blanco.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not voting for a player who allows his team to lose a 30-point lead and lose a game.
And Tatum's done it twice this year. His Red Bull. I might go SGA, but it's also again it's the standings.
Correct.
Put it this way: whoever's number 1 in the West by the end of the year is winning the MVP. Let's put it that way.
Correct.
That's all I'm at. All right, so let's go to 10%. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the East. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 teams in the West, which tell you about what playoffs look like. I'm gonna mention these teams, and now for folks that know this podcast, when I ever do contender for contender in the NFL, the NBA, baseball doesn't matter. My final contender, not so much playoff contender, is do I see X team playing for a chance to go to the final? Do I see this team playing in the conference finals? If I do, you're a contender, obviously. If I don't, you're a pretender. So first team first, let's go here. This is probably one of the easiest on the board right now in this conference, the Boston Celtics. Contender, right? Come on.
Contender.
Easy. All right. Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, currently number two in the East. Right? Currently
the Cavs are fourth.
A fourth now. Jesus. Oh, Milwaukee's 2 now, right?
Milwaukee is 2. Knicks are 3rd.
Okay. Cavs contender? Ooh, because I agree with you on that. I look, maybe it's because what happened last year in the playoffs against New York has me still.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And I watched this team, was like, okay, they're pretty good, but like I need more.
I don't believe in Evan Mobley. Mitchell obviously is a key cog there, but this is just something missing. I think they need another piece. I don't know what other piece they need. Maybe another scoring piece, but because Darius is fine, Mitchell is fine. They got defense with Allen, but Evan Mobley, since he's been drafted, has he taken a leap? Has he gotten better? Has he? The answer is no.
I think also in a 7-game setting, I just think New York's better. I think Miami's better. I think obviously Boston, Milwaukee, has 4 teams there. And Philadelphia with Embiid probably still better than them. I just think that they feel fake grind to me. Fake hustle.
It's false advertising.
Yeah, it's fake hustle. They're a good team, but like I to me, if it does happen, it's in hindsight because I don't believe in you. Sorry. Speaking of the team you just mentioned a while ago, New York Knicks, pretender.
There are contenders. I am completely sold on their team and what they can provide. It's matchups that's the issue. So they can actually, yes, I do see them representing. They have the talent and the ability to represent the East in the NBA Finals. They have it. This is a matter of who their matchup is.
Right. I'm going to contender too. If you asked me this question a month ago, I would have said I was still on the fence, maybe closer to pretender because I still have to see more. But what we've seen with this team now with just Jalen Brunson and pieces, you're gonna get back OG at some point. You're gonna get back Randall at some point. You hope those guys are healthy. It's a culture changer. And let's not forget they were 2 games away from getting there last year anyway. And I think honestly that number 2 spot in the East is wide open.
Wide open again. Go ahead.
No, because the next team I'll get in a second, has me doubt myself now on that. So the Knicks are contenders. I think they could. I think right now they could be in the teams outside of Boston. Could be in those teams at the top of the East right now in a 7-game set.
Give me the Knicks full strength. Now, full strength is the caveat here, good sir.
Yes.
Full strength.
That's
now. I had talking to Randy J. Cruz, a super Knicks fan. He was giddy with excitement of how I was, stroking his nice Knicks ego, and I'm telling him how the Knicks are the greatest and how the Knicks got Jalen Brunson.
Get him all excited.
Yeah, he's just smiling from ear to ear, and he's just like, yeah, D, put me on, hype me up, and I'm like, it stops there because I said I have a concern because I'm looking at who's in front of you, and I'm asking myself. Yes, the Knicks have the depth to go against the Bucks and the Celtics, but 7-game series, strategy, coaching, that all matters. Matchups matter. For the Knicks have to see the Celtics, probably the Eastern Conference. I would hope, depending on the seeding, Eastern Conference final. I want them to see them towards the end, right? But look at the Bucks. The Bucks, for me, you have Dame. But you really the defense has dropped because of your man Holiday leaving.
Perfect segue. That's next team. Perfect next to the Bucks. The contenders, right? The Bucks contenders.
Well, but the Bucks are contenders. Once you have a former MVP, former NBA champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo, my African brother from another mother. Once you have him, if he doesn't travel and it's not, bro, relax. He doesn't travel. He's all right. He's going to give you 35, 14, and 8. He's going to give you that in his sleep.
Yeah.
Now, Dame, he's going to give you maybe 29, maybe 30, right? What's Middleton going to give you? What's Lopez going to give you? What's Malik Beasley going to give you? Are they going to defend and stop the other team? That's the question, the big question mark come playoff time. Who's going to take the last shots? You saw against the Lakers when I mentioned this Giannis travel, they looked like they were in disarray. I was questioning what the hell was going on. And then you mentioned Boston above them. Number one, Missoula, the coach of Boston, he lets his team go through a couple of droughts. He won't call timeout. He's not the timeout guy.
That's something Phil Jackson's known for too, also for the record.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Not everybody can be Phil Jackson. Not everybody can have that same those same players. But conventional wisdom is you're up 30. If Tom Thibodeau was up 30. If Tom Thibodeau was up 30, it was 5-0 run. Timeout. 20 seconds.
5-0 run, yep.
What's going on? Yeah.
Let me get a 20.
Yo, let me get a 20. What's going on? Y'all good? Y'all good? All right, go ahead. Look up. 5-0 run. The 10-0 run. Down 15. Full timeout. All right, Jalen, go here. Mitchell, slide over. These guys, he let them come all the way back, and then by the time they're all the way back, it's just like, oh. One thing that brings me close to pause with Boston Celtics, and I mentioned it on the pod with Randy J. Cruz. Boston fans, y'all, this stat. Shout out to Brian Windhorst.
I want to hear the stat now.
Shout out to Brian Windhorst. I like to give credit where credit's due when I get information, right?
Right, of course.
He said the Boston Celtics pace, how fast the team moves,
right,
when they're trying to get up and down the court. Pace. In the first quarter, Boston is number 1, the fastest team in the league in pace.
Are they really?
First quarter.
First quarter.
Listen to hear what I'm saying. In the first quarter, if you watch Boston Celtics, you can see it. It's like, they jump. They usually jump on their teams early. 20-point leads, 30-point leads. First, second quarter. They have the fastest pace. EJ, let me ask you, What do you think? Come fourth quarter, the Boston Celtics ranks in pace.
19.
Second to last.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious? Wow.
Well, I'm sitting back. When he said that, I said, you know what? Let me go back and watch this. Which game did they just play recently? Boston.
Atlanta,
the 30-point loss. I said, let me go watch this. Let me watch the highlights. Let's watch the highlights of the last couple of possessions. Possessions in the last couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes. Those tell you everything you need to know. Damn. Live and die
by the three.
Live and die. Now, mind you, the Knicks don't. They don't. They take their share of threes, but they attack the paint. Mm-hmm. You'll see Brunson in the paint with a guy 10 times bigger than him, backing him down. You'll see Josh Hart in the paint working against a 6'8" guy. They'll go in the paint. The Boston Celtics do not. So when you have you up 30, but then you go like 2 for 16 from 3, and the other team's like, 3, 30.15. All right. 3, 15. Now it's 8.
Time's turning.
You Boston Celtics. You can't get a big man, Horford, because Porzingis is the center playing 2 guard. You can't get nobody in the paint to draw a double team to literally get into a foul situation, etc. Now, Jason Tatum was doing that in a couple of possessions. I saw. Come towards the fourth quarter. So, guys, when I look at the Knicks and then I look at what they could possibly do, depending on seeding, and I look at the Bucks and the Celtics and how they're set up. I'm like, Bucks defensive strategy. Celtics, they will allow you back in the game. That 7-game series against Boston, if there's ever a Knicks-Boston 7-game series, ooh-wee! I just want to have a nice little, I'm going to have a nice little Ric Flair moment and just say, you're going to see confetti rain down from 34th Street. You're going to have New York Police Department horses ready to escort Jason Tatum home. During that series, you have no idea what possibly can be brought if there's a Boston-New York series. But once again, I say all this and Randy's sitting back like, oh yeah, tell me more, getting all excited. Hey, listen, it is what it is. That top three is going to be, the last couple weeks of this. There's about 11 games left, then playoffs. It's about to be April, May, June. It's about to be some exciting stuff.
No, I'm with you that. And the Bucks, real quick, like, yeah, the contender by default, because obviously, you have Giannis, you got Dame, those guys, but they feel, most of the cast like fake hustle to me. The Bucks don't have, it feels like the Bucks doesn't have an identity anymore.
And that identity was
with the Boston. As I'm saying, with the Boston.
And as soon as I heard, I think I told everyone I could tell. I said that trade and taking Holiday off that team is going to hurt them. I said, I don't know when they're going to realize it hurt them. I don't know when. Is it because the Celtics have a better record than them? I don't know if it's seeding, but they're going to.
You said on this podcast before he even got signed by Boston, when they had made that trade, we had said on this podcast back last summer that if he ends up on certain teams, aka Miami, aka Boston, that cancels out that trade because of what he can do.
Yeah, you cannot quantify Black JJ Redick. You cannot quantify what Holiday can do. Close, he can guard all first defensive team ability.
Right.
All first defensive team ability. He can guard close to 5 positions. Yeah. 5. It's unquantifiable.
It adds a lot. It gives you flexibility on defense.
Once again, Boston, the luxury. Hey, Holiday, guard Brunson. Holiday, guard Banchero. Holiday, guard Mitchell. Holiday, guard Darius Garland. Holiday, guard Dame. Holiday, guard Middleton. You can go,
and especially with the fact that he's not as reliant, because they have enough offensive weapons on the other side of the ball. He's required to have to do both sides in the same way he does.
He doesn't have to. Right, he doesn't have to provide you whatever offense he provides you is icing on said cake. You're going to get offense from every other way, regardless. So. Once again, the matchups. Shout out to the Sixers being 8th. I didn't expect that. I thought they were just going to drop off the face of the earth. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey.
They kind of did though, sort of. But we'll get that in a second. Pacers, pretender.
No, they're pretenders. They need more. Obviously, Tyrese is coming back from being an all-star. We're going to see how much of an all-star he is when it comes playoff time, because you can be an all-star come regular season, come playoff time, it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Pretender. I think a year away. One more piece. But they're definitely an interesting team to look at. They can play spoilers on a lot of these teams in the middle. So just saying. The Sixers. Now, caveat here, Embiid should be back in the next week or two. I said.
I just said on the podcast he wasn't coming back. EJ, give me some positives of Embiid coming back this year. What positives do we provide? What advantages?
So they may win one series. I'm not being honest here too. I mean, the thing is, Embiid is not the best playoff player in the league, and until we see that, and now we have a situation where even look, him being back is going to be a plus on how you slice it. The problem is now is that how much time will there be between time he gets back versus when the playoffs start? Will he be ready to go?
If Tobias Harris was actually playing his contract, then I'd be like, yo, yeah, Embiid, try and come back. If he was, he's been stealing money for about 2 or 3 years. 6 points, 8 points, 9 points. You making $100 million, baby? Hell no. But he's able to hide because he's in Philly, and they have Embiid and Maxey there. So it's just a disarray. But if he comes back, I won't like it. But it is what it is.
Pretender for me. What you got? Pretender?
Pretender.
Yeah.
Pretender.
Yep. You got to show me to believe in that. Okay. And finally, my team, the Heat.
Yeah, the Heat, I always enjoy watching them develop during the regular season, and then obviously turn it on during the playoffs, come playoff time, come April. So playoff Jimmy's coming.
I hope so.
Playoff Jimmy's coming. Shout out to Jaime. I think he's a great addition. Shout out to Bam Bam, still doing work. So listen, it's still. Oh, and then obviously they added Scary Terry. So
phenomenal. Who's been great.
It's a different look for the Heat, and they're still trying to gel because they're I think they got Scary this year.
Yeah, they got Scary like a month ago.
Yeah, they're still trying to gel. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the next couple of 3 weeks going forward from there.
So contender?
Pretender for now. I got to see what they do the next month.
I'm gonna go contender because that's the one teams where like you can't look at the record because
you're right.
That coach and those players, that culture, it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and we have a sample to prove that now.
Yeah, you're right. I just said it. You're right.
I'm not saying they'll get to the conference finals.
No. Just being able to. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that can I see it happening in late May? They're there. Yeah, because of those players and that team.
Well, listen, nobody called Miami going to the finals.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. All right, let's get to the West now. We'll exhaust the first easy one, the Nuggets. They're the favorites with the whole thing.
Favorites, they're etched in. You put them in the top of your March Madness bracket.
Yeah, exactly. All right. The Thunder, contender, pretender.
The Thunder are contenders. I think they have the ability to. I look at their away record, 22-14. So they play hard on the road, and then obviously at home they're 28-8. So contender.
So part of me wants to say pretender because of the fact that they're still young and the game changes dramatically come playoff time. The thing is, the teams that might give them the most problems may not even make it to the playoffs. Like the Lakers, if they play the Lakers in the final in the playoffs, the Lakers I can see winning in 6-7 games because of experience. But they might even be into the dance anyway.
Exactly.
So they may avoid that, and then depending on the matchups. There's a lot of fake hustle teams in this Western Conference too, also, in my opinion. So by default, I gotta get some respect and give them contender, just cause.
All right, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? But I do have that other side. Look like they're young though, and 7-game series, and you get the wrong team in the wrong time, and you're out in the first round. So just saying. All right, the Timberwolves.
Wow, that's a good question.
It's a good one. The fact you even think about it.
Yeah, what? I'm gonna say they're pretenders because they're not full strength yet. Cat's out. I don't know when he'll be back. Ant-Man, I think he has only 1 year playoff experience under his belt. So the playoff experience is important, and we already know what the playoffs are when you change. The playoffs are when you go from regular season to the playoffs. It's a different game. So I'm gonna say pretender for now. If they have Cat, they could be a contender, but Cat's not there.
I mean, we don't know when he'll be back yet. It's indefinitely. They haven't said anything yet. I'm pretender myself because I still think at the end of the day, like the Thunder in some ways, like, yeah, they're a really, really good team, had a really good year. But again, I gotta see it, man. I know they get Denver fits and whatnot, but I feel like every team on this list here I have can beat them in a 7-game series.
Every single one.
Right.
Every single one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter of seeding. So, yeah, give me pretender for the Wolves right now. I got to see more. I got to see healthy Cat too on top of that before I even, feel good about that. All right, the Lakers. That's a good one, huh?
They're pretenders because they're inconsistent. They're not contenders. They're pretenders because they're inconsistent. Austin Reeves, had a breakout game just recently, but that's not every game. D'Lo can't play defense. I think they're to be honest, their X factor is Dinwiddie. He can play defense and he can play offense, but he obviously has to get acclimated to the system. If AD plays the way he plays, except when he plays against any European, they'll be fine. If he plays against Sabonis, Joker, or any other European, he's averaging 10 points. Anybody else, he's averaging 29, 14, and 8. LeBron's going to be LeBron, but I'm going to say they're pretenders because they got an uphill battle. So we're going to see.
I gotta go contender because of the, maybe this is me not used to saying LeBron pretender. Any team with LeBron James in it,
I know.
And I just think that if they get the right matchups and the right circumstances, like last year, for example, they find themselves right in the conference finals again.
Right,
with those two guys.
A lot of things that got to go right for them to even go back.
Right,
to that
and I can see that still because of just that's still how crazy the NBA is. So just for that alone, I have to go contender. And I've seen this team also too when they want to, man, they are right there. I'm not saying that as good as Denver, but can I see him playing against Denver in the conference finals? Absolutely again.
Oh no, to be honest, I think I was the one that said, Lakers have the best unit to be able to contend and take them to 7 because of the size.
Right.
Them and OKC. I'm talking about the size that is offensively gifted.
Right.
Timberwolves has Cat Gobert. Offensively, he's not gonna. Defensively, yes, but offensively. To go against Denver, you need all your bigs to be great on offense and defense. It can't be a situation where you just got a defensive guy in there unless he's like phenomenal.
Right. Stay in LA, the Clippers.
Oh my God, I hate the Clippers. Jesus Christ.
They're so frustrating, aren't they?
Just so underachieving. It seems like, yes, Kawhi hasn't taken games off, and he's played this whole season. He's done very, very well. I saw Russell, he just came back. James Harden got injured. I don't think he's been healthy yet. Zubac's been injured. He hasn't been healthy yet. They haven't been playing healthy since their injuries. Do I expect them to heal up in the next 3 weeks and play healthy enough to win a first round matchup? Hell no. I expect these guys to be ready for April vacations, Cancun's, your Mexico's, your Saint Tropez. They're going all of Paris. They're going everywhere because I don't think right now they're moving in the right direction. So even though they're fourth, they're not moving in the right direction.
Pretender, right?
Pretender.
I'm gonna close my eyes and hold my nose. Contender, but I'm not confident because the things you just said I can see happening too when they get hurt. But if they're full strength by start of the playoffs, I can still see them getting to conference finals. It's just the fact that I have to see it, man. I think that they're good enough, talented enough to get there. But this last month or so has been kind of weird. I will say that. So, but I'm gonna hold my nose on that one. It's a contender, but hold my nose on that one.
Yeah, it's a lot going on because again, you have guys on there that you talk. Yeah, PJ Tucker that wants to play. You have Bones Highland, who I thought was going to get some minutes. His minutes have been diminished. I love him. So you got a lot of guys that there. It's not gelling as a team as they should. Right.
The Warriors.
Pretenders, man.
I'm there too. I'm saying.
When is it going to be a point when what Draymond Green is doing is detrimental?
When is it? It's been.
Depends who you ask.
It's just worse now because now they're not as good to withstand that. Before it was never an issue because they were good enough to withstand that.
Winning. When you're winning,
yeah.
It's Draymond being Draymond. Draymond being Draymond, but when you're losing. And Draymond's gone back and forth this year about how he's contrite, how this and that and the third, and how I said I'm sorry and this and that, and you wanna be able to say, oh, he's getting picked on. You really want to say that,
and then you watch him like, no, you're not,
because literally, if you watch his most recent ejection, Just walk away. Just walk away.
Luckily, they won the game last night.
Just walk. Oh, they beat They beat Orlando.
Yeah, a good team too.
Yeah, they're a good team. But just walk away.
Oh,
You're leaving your man Steph out to dry every time.
Actually, you know what? I forgot that team added to the list. Go back to East quick. Magic, contender.
Oh no, they're well, talking about finals. They're pretenders. No, they need one more piece.
Okay, back to the West now.
Back
to the West.
Some more pieces. Yeah, come on.
I'm with you. I'm with you also, pretender as well. But great story. My favorite team to watch on League Pass, the Kings.
Sacramento Kings are dope. Something they're missing, man. Something they're missing. They're pretending right now. There's something more. They need something more, and I don't know what that is. Maybe they need another big with Sabonis. I don't know, but it's something missing.
Yeah, I'm with you too. Also, I watch this team like they're a good team, like they're almost in the conversation, but there's something that's holding back this year. So
yeah, it's just something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Dallas Mavericks.
Wow, they're contenders. They're contenders that won't be able to play defense. You know, for your Phoenix Suns teams, you know, back in the day with D'Antoni is like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna be around, but you know, it's all about defense. And a lot of these folks are talking to me about, oh, you don't want to see Kyrie and Luka in the first round. And my answer to that is, okay, let's see if they defend, because playoffs about defending. Yeah, you can score all you want, and that's the thing in the regular season. Scoring your 150, your 160, that's cute. Yeah. It's cute. It's cute in the regular season. Playoff time, 95, 90.
Yep.
100, 103. Defense is going to be applied. Double teams will happen. And don't get me wrong, Kyrie and Luka have seen it all. But defensively is my concern with that team. Pretender.
This is probably the hardest team. It's probably the hardest team for me. I'll still go pretender, but I mean, if they get Kyrie and Luka on the right nights, man, you get two good.
Yeah, you'll win every series. You could possibly win 2 games.
Right?
Can you win 4 though? That's the conversation. Can you win 4 straight against said team 3 times?
Right.
I don't think so. Not the way the team.
Yeah, he need more help. All right, 2 more teams here. The Pelicans. The quiet team. No one's talking about the Pelicans, in my opinion.
No one's talking about them. I think they're contenders. I like the way they their team is built. They're long, they're athletic. And if Zion actually plays if Zion plays like the Zion from Duke, contender.
I'm gonna go there too, also for one reason. It wouldn't shock me if they're in there. If they're in the conference finals, it wouldn't be shocking, because I feel like that this team is put together in a way where if they get the right matchups, you can find themselves winning 2 series.
Facts.
You know, they could beat OKC. They could beat OKC. They could beat these teams.
No, they can beat OKC. They can beat the Clippers. They can beat the Mavs. They can beat the Suns, and they can beat the Kings. It's just a matter of the matchups.
They need a healthy BI, especially too. BI is healthy.
100%. BI and Zam both have to be healthy for that to happen.
All right, and finally, last team, the Phoenix Suns.
Whew. Yeah, we're pretending. Yeah, we're pretending. They need a point guard. They just picked up IT. Shout out to Isaiah Thomas. God bless. Hopefully he gets to stay past a 10-day contract. But they need a point guard. They need a point guard, and they haven't been healthy and full strength all season. I don't know what I'm looking at. You got Booker in and out. You got Beal in and out. You got
more out than in.
Enough said. So I don't know what this team is full strength. So I can't even see them in the finals. NBA finals with that. No. Hell
like
no.
I want to say contender by default because it's KD in his book, and you know they pushed Denver to 6 last year, and you know, like they have, I guess, a good enough roster to maybe steal some games and maybe steal 2 series depending on the matchup. I'll go contender slightly, only because of the guys that have in that team, but I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
I don't feel confident.
They'll let down to me in my opinion. But then last night they beat Denver. So I mean, in Denver. So
Denver had a night off.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, is that sign things to come? Was this team really good? Is this,
No.
I don't know, man. I'll say contender just because they have KD and Book when, any given series could go off, which you saw last year, but I don't feel good about it.
No,
I don't feel good at all. So,
not at all.
There you go. All right, 2 more things to get out of here. Off the sports topics now.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the whole Diddy conversation.
Take that.
So
that was too easy.
I wasn't even aware. I wasn't even aware that this Diddy thing was a thing until like probably a few months ago when I heard him and 50 Cent were beefing. And apparently they were beefing. This beef has been going on for years, which I had no idea about. And then I started doing little deep dives here and there the last couple of months and just kind of see, okay, Diddy, what's going on with him now? And apparently there's a rabbit hole here, man. I'm like, holy hell. And apparently I'm talking to people, legit people that, this dude is kind of off his rocker a little bit. And so they wasn't out. So this past Monday, the FBI raided his homes in LA and in Miami. He reportedly, I don't know if it's true or not, took a plane to the islands. Now, I've heard that that's probably not the case anymore. Are you frozen, by the way? I think you're frozen. Yeah, I think you're frozen, bro. Yeah, I think you're frozen. Let me. All right, Denny's back. We had a little internet.
Apologies.
Apologies there. So the FBI raided his home in LA and in Miami. I don't know. What do you know about this situation? Like historically speaking, have you followed this at all for years?
Yes.
Or something? Okay.
Yes.
What's factual so far that we did?
Well, you're blessed to have me today because I watched Sean Combs' whole career. I grew up on his music.
Mm-hmm.
I know it all. So let me keep it short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy has been accused. So keep it short and sweet. Diddy recently was accused in the past year of sexual trafficking, allegedly accused of sexual trafficking by a former protege / artist called Cassie, who was on Bad Boy. She put in a civil suit and described sexual trafficking, described abuse, etc. And he settled within 24 hours.
Right, remember that.
Sean Combs. After that, there have been some victims as well coming out and saying Diddy, Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Love, whatever name you want, you Puff Daddy, whatever name you want to use. He has been continuously doing this, so much so that a new superseding indictment, well, not so much indictment, but civil suit. This producer that just came out suing for $30 million, and he's suing Diddy. Obviously mentioning sex trafficking. In this particular, I read 50 of this 73 document, 50 of this 73-page document, 50 pages of 73-page document. This guy has pictures. This guy has names, references. It's a RICO case from what I've read. Now, RICO, if you're not familiar, RICO is used for the mafia. RICO is used for high-end drug dealers. Your Meeches, your John Gotti's. They use RICO. It was created because they really can't get Diddy at the top if he's directing people under him to get him drugs, to get him sex workers, etc., to do transportation. That is all. So they're doing RICO's an easy net.
Right.
Just pick everybody up and then charge them charge them under the RICO. Having stated all that, his actual legacy when it comes to being outside, when it comes to attention, that's over. He's a leper now. That's over. He's not going to have the same love Diddy. He's not going to have the same love that he's had before, and that's strictly based on you could say the payout from Cassie, because you paid out, then said these allegations were false. But we've had a long history of Sean Combs paying out and ducking criminal activity, whether it's a shooting with J-Lo in Club New York in New York City, where he was on trial for a shooting and he got off and Sean got sent away for 10 years. Or it's beating up Steve Stout, who was a record executive at one point. And this is early on. And Steve Stout, You Can Hate Me Now, the Nas video. Yes, Diddy was in the original. and it was MTV. MTV was this huge thing. MTV, TRL, Total Request Live. MTV had videos. This was when videos were big then, and it was big money spent, $1 million videos. And he told Steve Stout that he wanted to actually not do the video anymore. It was already shot and it was already approved. And Steve Stout said, no, it's already on the way. He sent some goons, showed up Steve Stout and beat him up. And he had to pay Steve Stout. So we have all these allegations, allegedly. And now we're here. They raided his house. And the common thread is here. They don't raid your house to say, we're here, we're looking for something. They raid your house because they're saying, we have something, we want to confirm and add more to what we have. So whether it's him, Diddy, Sean Combs selling Revolt, his piece of the pie, to the owner of Essence magazine, from what I read today, or is him actually divesting from Ciroc or settling his lawsuit with Ciroc, and he's not being attached to more to them anymore. His name is now Poo Poo, and it's all being brought on by himself. It's all him. He has no one else to look at. But himself in the mirror.
As someone that's followed his career closely, and I followed him too, but nowhere as close as you did. Did you suspect shit like this, like was going on for years?
Well, let me clarify what I
because the vibe from people was that there's been smoke for a long time with this guy.
Well, let me confirm what I suspected. Did I suspect Diddy was a violent man based on the Steve Stout situation and the Club New York shooting? Yes, I absolutely did. Then you have a situation where obviously we don't know what J-Lo did. J-Lo was there with him, but Cassie, in her civil suit that I read, she would be given guns by Diddy to hold in her purse. Why? Because they're not searching Cassie. So they're going to clubs and Cassie's holding a gun and drugs for Diddy. Who's to say allegedly J-Lo didn't hold a gun for Diddy when she was in the club? These things, when you say where there's smoke, there's fire. Yes, absolutely. And then here's the kicker. EJ. With the internet, it's perpetuity. It's for life. Right. So they're in this new indictment that I read last night. They're pulling up information of videos that I've watched on Vlad TV, on Art of the Dialogue. These are other YouTube channels where you'll have Mark Curry, who was a former artist.
Yeah.
Mark Curry, former artist on Bad Boy, suggesting that in a club they have 4 bottles here, 4 bottles here. The 4 bottles on the left are mixed with drugs. The 4 bottles on the right are regular, and they're handing out these 4 bottles of drugs to women. That is stated in the actual civil suit as well as on video. Then you have pictures. Once again, you have pictures supporting. So this gentleman that's suing Diddy said, hey, listen, he brought Cuba Gooding Jr. over to me to try and assault me.
Yeah, he's also on allegation of assault now too.
He's in there too as well. And once again, just to land this plane, for me, the fireworks aren't beginning. These aren't the fireworks. The fireworks are going to begin when subpoenas go out. When you're subpoenaed and called in to say something under oath and they dare you to lie so they can arrest your ass. Shout out to Little Kim. Under oath, lied, went to jail for a year. It was like, Kimberly Jones, we see you on tape. This is you right here.
Yeah.
This is a fact. We see you on tape. You are there. No, it wasn't. You know you're under oath. We'll send you to jail. I don't care. Send me to jail. Little Caesar's like, I'm a snitch. We're all on tape. Mm-hmm. Why are you getting mad at me? Because I said, yeah, that's me. This is what happened. This is what happened. Again, subpoenas are going to go out. And now, whether it's the manager under Diddy, whether it's Lucian Grange, who's the Universal Music Group, he's in the actual indictment too. Whether it's the head of Motown, she's in indictment too. These are all people that are in indictments. Subpoenas happen. That's when it's going to get spicy.
So it's going to get worse, in other words.
Because these folks are going to have to either confirm or deny what's been put in this. And then also it's a civil. So who's to say that Diddy doesn't just turn around and just say, okay, here's 30 million again. And then say, it wasn't me. Pull a Shaggy. Wasn't me.
Right.
Here's 30 million. Wasn't me. We have time. Because he's not the only person on that. There's a Jane Doe, and her name's been thrown out. There's a Jane Doe who, again, 16, saying that she was sexually assaulted by Diddy. And
so that's what I'm saying. There's also minors involved in this as well too. Minors involved in this as well.
This minors from back, years ago that the victim was a minor when it happened.
What is it? The whole thing. They kept saying something about Justin Bieber. What is it? What is that angle like about?
Apparently, no different than Diddy. No different than Sean Combs actually being a mentor to Usher. He was a mentor to Bieber. So there's a video online going around, and once again, internet.
But is it an insinuation, or is it something that
insinuation? It's an insinuation. You pull up videos. You pull a video of him and Bieber having a conversation. Bieber's like 15 at the time.
Okay,
15, 14. And they're having a conversation, and it looks awkward. Just looks weird looking back. But again, there are videos that just look weird. Diddy, Usher, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's like, yo, what'd you say? You were fighting over Frosted Flakes with Usher. What? That sounds stupid. What did you just say?
Now you're insinuating pedophilia now. You know,
Diddy,
not you. No, it's not you. I'm saying like
no. Again, it just once again we have scenarios where Diddy's been around certain individuals, certain kids, certain individuals, and said weird things, whether it's the locks, Jadakiss, Fabulous, and Diddy. There's a video with Nori. There's a Drink Champs video, and
right.
Diddy's insinuating that Fab should party with him, and Fab's like, yo, what? I feel uncomfortable. Jadakiss is sitting there like, whatever. And then shout out to Mace too, because you have to realize also too that what this executive producer that's suing Diddy said was he uses his influence, Diddy, to make you believe like, okay, if you do this, look at Stevie J. He's a famous producer. Yeah. He has a long list. Look at all the artists I've put on. But if you really sit back and actually analyze Diddy's roster, you have to, and I asked myself, I said, who had managers on Diddy's roster? And I said to myself, wow, that's interesting. The only two people that have managers, their careers went went interesting way.
Right.
Mace had a manager. See how that turned out. Craig Mack had a manager. See how that turned out. Biggie's, when I say manager that's not affiliated with Bad Boy.
Right.
Not a conflict of interest.
Right.
Mace and Craig Mack were the outliers. Everybody else had a conflict of interest with management, all being dealing with Bad Boy.
Right.
And then we're having questions about money and questions about what's owed and this, down, and third. That's on purpose because everything is under the same umbrella. Lawyers, managers, all under the same umbrella. So to land this plane with Mr. Sean Combs, he has a history of being violent. You can't say he doesn't have that. Right. And he is going to, his legacy has been tarnished. I don't know how far is it going to go when it comes to his music being heard on the radio, because he comes from the golden era of hip hop and he's on almost every single, whether it's a remix, whether it's he's in the background doing ad libs, take that. So it's a sad day. There's a lot of our musical greats, R. Kelly, Diddy. Mm-hmm. It's a different conversation now than it was 15 years ago.
Yeah. And I always suspected too. With I'm not saying that he's the reason he passed away, but I always suspected Diddy would have some sort of involvement in Biggie's murder.
Well, which is interesting that you say that, because I've always been I've done deep dives. I've watched every single thing associated with that. So to keep it simple, let's just play this game.
Okay.
Let's just play a game. Okay, Diddy. We're going back to where Diddy and Biggie's Biggie, and Diddy's. They're all. It's live. Bad Boy is huge, right? To think to think now. Shout out to Gene Deal, who was Puffy's bodyguard, who I'm getting all this information from. And he said he's done multiple interviews, over 10. Every interview is the same story. Every single one. Never deviates, right? Biggie wasn't even supposed to be in LA based on everything Gene Deal's saying. He was based on Kurt Burrows. He was supposed to be in London. That's number one. Number two, you know it's the height of your disrespect with the West Coast, and your principal guy really doesn't have any bodyguards. You do. You're getting warnings in LA that they're going to come for you. You do nothing. Gene Deal warns you because he got a call from jail.
Right.
You do nothing. And then you have a guy saying, yeah, we were told, Keefe D, we were told to get rid of Tupac and Suge Knight, and we were going to get paid. Now, let's be clear. Do I think Diddy had something to do with his murder? No. Do I think he was liable? Yes.
Okay, that's the right word to use, right?
Liable? Yes. And he lied when he said Biggie wanted to go to LA. That's a lie. So why are you lying? That's the question. Why are you lying? Why Gene Deal? Gene Deal said Biggie's mom was told by Puffy. Biggie mom asked, because Gene Deal's been saying all this stuff. Yeah, I saw this, I saw that, I saw that. Biggie's mom, Valetta Wallace, bless her soul, asked Diddy, who's Gene Deal? She said, Puffy said, I don't know who Gene Deal is. Why are you lying? My guess is, rest her soul, Mrs. Wallace is going to have to pass before we really get an actual, we know, we pretty much have a direct aim on who actually was responsible for the Biggie murder. So you're talking about LAPD. You're talking about them being liable, the LAPD. I'm just hoping that, they actually put pen to paper and say this actually happened versus innuendos, because you have an actual FBI agent saying the LAPD was being dirty when it came to the Biggie investigation.
We have traction on the Tupac thing now. I mean, now we haven't got much on the Biggie front. So
yeah, you're not.
Maybe this situation could open some can of worms too. Also, we'll see.
I don't think we'll ever get an official answer to. Shout out to obviously Jam Master Jay. We got an official conviction.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
official conviction with Jam Master Jay. We're not going to get that with Biggie, because I think LAPD was liable, and if they put that to paper, there's no way they could put to paper that they weren't liable, because they had LAPD actually being on death row security force.
Right.
And there were too many coincidences involved with that night for them to say the LAPD wasn't involved.
Right. All right. Well, let's get you out of here. This has been a great podcast today. Candace Owens.
Love her.
Interesting turn of events with her the last few months.
Love her. Mm-hmm.
You are a fan of hers?
I'm a fan of people who like to I'm a fan of people who like to drop the smoke and then turn it to somebody else and then make people believe them.
Yeah.
It's like that's a talent, baby. You just gonna allow people. I mean, you just gonna hope people forget that you said George Floyd died on his own.
Yeah. Now, people don't know who she is. Candace Owens is a conservative, black conservative commentator, very controversial. I've been following her for about 6-7 years now. You guys know I am not a fan of hers. I've been very critical of her for years on this podcast, not because of her conservative beliefs, but more so to some of the dangerous things she said about that. Look, I'm gonna say right now, I have no problem with anyone. I don't care if it's a black, white, being a conservative. Your beliefs, your beliefs. You have every right to being what you want to believe in. I mean, we're not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? You do what you want. But I've always said, but the problem with Candace Owens is that I've always believed she's a grifter. She's always an armchair for the Republican Party. because all her rhetoric was, well, Democrats are bad, Republicans are good, vote for us. Boom, that's it. I've been critical about her, especially when it comes to politics as a whole. But she's been very critical now as of late, especially with pertaining to the Gaza issue in the Middle East, of Gaza and Israel. Most folks on the conservative side obviously support Israel. She's been critical of Israel and been very pro. I guess I want to say pro Gaza, maybe just pro anti-genocide, I want to call that, and it's gotten her in trouble. She got fired from the Daily Wire. Of course, that's owned by Ben Shapiro, who Ben Shapiro is obviously married to a Jewish person as well, too. They have a lot of infighting there, which went public. So I want to ask you this. What do you make of Candace Owens, like, I want to say a face turn, but what do you make of this whole, like, all of a sudden, just sudden change, and at least in some of the rhetoric she's been saying?
My lady said it best. It's an election year. She's being used. It's an election year. She's being used to spin minds like they normally do. You know, we know that shout out to Malcolm X. We know that the Black community don't listen to actual politicians. They listen to entertainers, charlatans. That's what they listen to. So if that's the case, yeah, you know, it's like, all right. I know I've been saying this for like the last 2 or 3 years, but let me get back on the Black side and say, you know, guys, you know, accept me, make me great. And, you know, I feel a sense of sorrow when it comes to Black media and publications. When you have, as the Breakfast Club did, when you have Candace Owens on and you want to avoid accountability. She has to be accountable for her words, but you want to avoid them. She has to be accountable for saying Breonna Taylor deserved to be killed. She has to be accountable for saying George Floyd killed himself. She has to be accountable. Yeah. You just can't let her come on your show leading with, oh, Black people don't like you, or even Joe Budden, same thing. Black people don't like you. No, you see, that's where you have journalism and podcasting. Two different things. Podcasting, you're just going to ask, you're just going to talk, have fun. Journalism.
That's my questions.
Journalism, we're having Candace Owens on. Great. All right. Candace, listen, we're going to get right to it. George Floyd killed himself. Can you explain? Get right to it. Get right to the hate and why people hate her. Not so much as, oh, well, she's a polarizing figure. Explain why. Right. But we have this, our Black publications, these drifters, as you mentioned, they're afraid to go to the Roland Martins. They're afraid to go to the people that have the knowledge to be able to challenge and say no. I find it interesting also. Asking for peace is negative. Well, listen, you have two people warring. Can we have no? Hell no. We're wiping them out. Okay. I don't want to partake. I don't want to partake. Oh, well, pick a. I'm not picking a side. I'm Switzerland. Because you don't want me to pick a side. You won't respect me picking a side. Okay. We have a situation currently, right now, United States of America. We have a homeless crisis. We have an immigration crisis. Okay. That is costing millions of taxpayer dollars. Right. But we can find money for Ukraine. And we can find money for Israel. And that's very concerning. Because my tax-paying dollar.
That's your opinion, right?
It's my opinion.
It's funny because that's where a lot of pro-Trump people will agree with you on that. Because they feel the same way. A lot of the hardcore MAGA folks will say the same thing also. Why are we give money to Ukraine? Why pay money to Israel?
We can't find money to repair the damage to the Black community. We can't find it. We can't even say they said repair. We can't put repair and Asians together. But we can find money. We can find money 2 times. We can find money for food
and then some
to send over to Israel, and then find money for missiles to send over to both, right? But when we're asking here, like, oh, listen, can you handle the immigration crisis? Can you handle the student loan debt? What about reparations? What about no, we're good. I said this to you. A broken clock is right twice a day. Mm-hmm. So your Candace Owens may be saying some things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can get with that. That doesn't mean I like her.
Exactly. Thank you.
Doesn't mean I like her. She said one thing out of 300 that I said, oh, you got one on me. I come to you on that side.
I was telling some folks, I was like, like my mother is one of my best friends, and I disagree with her about 30% of the time. The things she says, let me don't love me less. They ain't gonna change anything. I mean, the thing Candace Owens said in the past, it is what it is. What I don't like, and this is why I want to avoid as a black man, you as well too, is that she's trying to be black now. This kind of thing, dude. I don't want to get into that rhetoric, because what you're saying there is that black folks think one way and that's it. So in essence, you're actually hurting yourself by saying that, because you're saying that black folks only listen to hip hop. No, we are not a monolith.
Correct.
I'm a black man and listen to all kinds of music. Listen to metal for out loud. I played a metal band for many years. Okay, but also black culture too. Also, we are all different shades and sizes and different interests and stuff. And I don't want to get to that rhetoric. We have black folks who are intelligent. We have black folks who are fucking stupid.
I love it.
AKA Candace Owens. So allow her to be black and stupid.
You allow her. See, you say allow. See, I don't want black publications to allow her. They're allowing her, and it's pissing me off, because they have. Shout out to my man, Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. And if you're Charlamagne the God or you're Joe Budden, you have this person on, you hold their feet to the fire like you do your Joe Bidens, your Kamala Harris's, you hold their feet to the fire.
Well, Charlamagne was a little disappointed, because Charlamagne, not necessarily a journalist, but he has a tendency to ask the tough questions, and he didn't do it there. He didn't do it there.
Again,
Club. Yeah.
It's very peculiar, very interesting who he decides to do a deep dive on and who he decides to give softball stuff to.
Fam, he was tougher on Hillary Clinton than he was on Candace Owens.
And Joe Biden.
And Joe Biden too. Like,
1,000%. So it makes me feel, Denny, and I don't say that often, feel. It's about feel, not facts. Right, not fact, right. Feel. I feel that it was a favor. Charlamagne doing a favor for Candace. I feel. Because you bringing on a woman that said two people died on their own and not by police brutality, you are co-signing. By you not challenging that and bringing her on, not challenging that, you're basically disrespecting those families. Breonna Taylor's and George Floyd's. By not having her explain why she thought that was okay to say George Floyd was a drug addict and he was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Disrespectful of the highest order. You shouldn't be given a microphone. You should be ostracized. How dare you? We all saw what happened on camera. And yes, not everybody that's black or has people of color, we all think the same. You put 20 people in a room, you'll have conservative, you'll have Catholic, you'll have Buddhist, you'll have Islam,
and all black, and all black, yeah,
all black. You'll have people listen to Lincoln, rap. You have people listen to heavy metal. You have people listen to freaking Nirvana. You have people listen to No Doubt. You have people listen to Paramore. It's not. We're not gonna have the same thought process. However, I do want my politicians, whoever's in charge, tell me what you're going to do for people that look like me. Yeah. And then, if you don't, I'm done with you. That's all. It's very simple. It's not hard. Whether it's low level, your mayors, your mayors, your legislative, anybody. It's like, hey, what are you going to do for us? Nothing. All right, cool. I can go vote for you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it. It's quite simple. You want to vote your interests. You want to vote who's going to do what. It shouldn't matter. Now, mind you, at the same time, it's like, well, these conversations with voting and everybody, you know, they're all saying it like, okay, well, I don't want to vote for him, so I'm not going to vote at all. I'm not going to, you know, I don't like either choices, so I'm not going to vote for all.
Right.
You know, so it's like those are conversations that, you know, you're not going to get the best candidate, but are your interests going to be met? That's the other question. So right now, I applaud Candace Owens for being able to literally drop the smoke, disappear from hey black, hey black, hey black, hey black to black power. And some people like, don't get me wrong, in the zoo, I call it the zoo. I'll go into the, you know, the videos that are online that are being shared, and I'll go into the comment section and read. Majority of these folks are saying the same thing. Like, Candace, okay, I agreed with one point. That doesn't mean I like you. That's it. So God bless her, and God bless she can find a black platform that's going to allow her to say the things that she's been saying on the Daily Wire. You know, does she build a network by herself like Club Shay Shay, like Shannon Sharp? No, I don't think she has the enough of a fan base by herself.
She got a base, but I don't know if it's
a million followers, all that. Again, that's all great. Once again, do I think she can pull a Shannon, leave Skip Bayless, leave an FS1, and then go do something on YouTube?
She's too polarizing.
Thank you. That's all. She just says things that just will not add up and will not carry over, and I don't think that's best. That's good for her growth.
All I will say is this, and we'll close with here, is that I always tell folks, regardless of political ideology, regardless of whatever you may think, I'm always open to the conversation. This podcast, I've had them all the time. I've had on conservatives, liberals, black conservatives, you name it, doesn't matter. To me, it's about the open, productive dialogue conversation. As long as we're having productive conversations, as long as your intentions are noble, you may have different ideologies into that, but as long as your intentions are noble, you're not some racist son of a bitch. I'm game with that. Like I listen. I'm a center left guy. I mean, I was raised a little more conservative, but I'm definitely a center left guy. But I do listen to conservative media once in a while to see what they're saying, because you don't learn by not listening.
Oh, you definitely want to do that. You definitely want to hear from both sides of the chamber,
right,
because
but I am selective on both sides of who I listen to based on the productive. If they're having like Patrick Beck-David, for example, the PBD podcast, he's a center right guy. But he has on many people with different backgrounds on his podcast
all the time.
You know, he just had on Stephen A. Smith on his podcast yesterday.
All the time.
Phenomenal conversation yesterday. I watched. He's had on liberal guys, conservative guys, you name it. Guys, he's had on Candace Owens on the show.
Patrick Bett probably has does journalistic research.
Yeah.
To the highest order that I've seen in a while.
And a lot of times with him and his panel, I disagree with his panel most of the time, but it's not the point. The point is I'm still learning about what they're saying. That way I know exactly where you're coming from.
Exactly. You have to know what the other side is thinking, and then you have to be able to try to get an understanding. But, you know, it's the cycle. It's the same cycle that continues over and over again. A war. Do we support the war? Even then, like I'm a history buff, so I've done. I watched Oppenheimer.
I still need to watch that. I still gotta watch.
Yeah, I watched Oppenheimer, and then I did. I watched some documentaries, and just the understanding of you. This is history, so look at it as you want, right?
Yeah.
World War II, the United States decided to drop an atomic bomb on a city that wasn't a military city.
Right.
So that would be like the equivalent of, now mind you, which is again, I'm thinking back, I'm like, wait, hold on. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, which is a military pretty much facility where they were aiming at, right?
Yeah.
So okay. But then you come back and you bomb an innocent city that has no army military no army military presence whatsoever. Yeah. And they're having conversations on this documentary. The people that even actually created the bomb had was part of the team creating the atomic bomb. They said we felt away. We felt away about, and that's history shows. It's like, did you have to do it because it was two bombs? They were working. They working
one Osaka, one Nagasaki.
Right. And
Hiroshima,
right. And then they had a third bomb, but they didn't do it. But the concept was, and I'm bringing it up because I'm just like, right now, then 80-90% of people, because the media was spinning it a certain way, was like, right. Yeah, bomb them. Again, this is the time where the United States was actually taking United States citizens that were Japanese and putting them in concentration camps.
Correct.
So the narrative was, oh yeah, bomb them, good, bomb them. I look at that situation and I look now at the Ukraine war and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and I'm just like, same cycle. Okay, you got one group saying we're going to bomb this other group, and it's information too. It's like, what information coming out of Israel do you trust? It's like Israelis are like, yo, everything that comes out is true in terms of positivity, everything. But if it's negative, it's a lie. How?
I mean, the media is one of the most dangerous tools out there.
How? Of course, Netanyahu's going to sit back and be like, yes, there were no bombings of food locations. Of course, he's not going to say that. He's not going to say he purposely bombed a location where they were dropping food because he wanted to get rid of them. He's not going to say that because that'd be a war crime.
Yeah, exactly.
So you stay neutral if you want, or you choose a side if you want, and then you go from there. Me, Denny Blanco, I'm Switzerland, baby. Y'all have at it. I don't like war. I like peace. Whatever comes to it, and I'm gonna stay there. So come on this side if you enjoy it.
I'm with you, brother. Man, what a good podcast today, man. That was a great pod.
Hey, you asked the right questions. I give you the right answers. We jump it. We jump it live. You heard?
Go ahead and plug what you want to plug. I mean, obviously you got the podcast going. You and Randy doing a great job there. I listen to it all the time. Talk to your boy. Tell him to get the retro room back and stuff. Do that for me. And other than that,
yeah. Let me close it out. Just basically saying, it's in the game podcast again. We're up and running. We talk about all different types of sports conversation as well as some other things, but we're in obviously have retro room, which we bring back. We talk about previous things in history, obviously, and we connect to the present. So yeah, hit us up on Instagram, TikTok. I'm Sir Denny Blanco. I'm on IG, and then obviously It's in the Game Pod is on IG and TikTok as well. Hit us up, holler at your boys. We're here.
Yeah, and Danny, the playoffs 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away.
I'm excited. Excited, baby. I'm excited.
It's Christmas, baby. Good job, brother.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.